Attention, people who still care. How can regular people like us invest in a way that fixes our broken financial system? This is the question we ask on the Crowd Effect podcast. I am your host, Paul Lovejoy, activist investment advisor at Stakeholder Enterprise. On today's show, Bank of America employees open fake credit card accounts to relieve the pressure of sales quotas. Did these same employees open fake girlfriend dolls to relieve a different type of pressure? Yikes. But before we talk about Bank of America, I first want to tell you the story of Amelia. Now, Amelia Thompson, a hardworking single mother of two, had always prided herself on her financial responsibility. She diligently paid her bills on time, managed her expenses, and was determined to provide a stable future for her children. Little did she know that her trust in the banking system would soon be shattered. In 2012, Amelia decided to open a checking account with Bank of America, believing it would to be a reputable institution. Unbeknownst to her, the bank's employees were caught up in a web of deceit and unethical practices. They were under immense pressure to meet unrealistic sales targets and boost their evaluations. Driven by the allure of financial rewards and the fear of losing their jobs, some Bank of America employees resorted to illegal measures. They began fraudulently applying for and enrolling consumers in credit card accounts without their knowledge or authorization. Amelia was one of the unfortunate victims of this deceitful scheme. Months went by, and Amelia continued her daily routine, oblivious to the ticking time bomb that lay dormant in her financial future. Unbeknownst to her, credit card accounts were opened in her name without her consent, resulting in a series of disastrous consequences. As the bank had illegally obtained her credit report without consent, Amelia found herself burdened with unjustified fees and charges that began to accumulate on these unauthorized credit cards. Her hard-earned money was being drained away, leaving her struggling to make ends meet for her children. To make matters worse, these unauthorized credit card accounts were reported to the credit bureaus, tarnishing Amelia's previously pristine credit history. Her credit score plummeted, making it difficult for her to secure loans or apply for housing in the future. Amelia soon discovered the fraud when she received an unexpected credit card bill in the mail. Shocked and confused, she immediately contacted Bank of America to rectify the situation. However, the road to justice was not easy. She faced countless hours on hold, being transferred from one department to another, and enduring the frustration of speaking with representatives who seemed indifferent to her plight. Now, Amelia is a fictional character, but the consequences of the Bank of America employees opening fake accounts are very real. Which brings us to our news story. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency collectively fined Bank of America $150 million last week for opening fake accounts, double dipping on overdraft fees, and withholding credit card cash rewards and points from customers. Bank of America was also ordered to pay an additional $100 million as restitution to affected customers. Now, the CFPB and OCC alleged that from at least 2012 to 2017, Bank of America employees opened unauthorized credit card accounts for consumers in order to meet sales goals. The employees used or obtained consumers' credit reports without their consent, and they charged consumers fees for the unauthorized accounts. Part of this, the settlement, Bank of America will pay $250 million in penalties. In addition to the monetary penalties, Bank of America has agreed to a number of reforms to prevent future unauthorized account openings. We shall see. These reforms include requiring employees to obtain consumer consent before opening a credit card account. That seems pretty obvious, but let's put it down in writing. Implementing new training programs for employees, which include, hey, employees, don't open up credit card accounts that are fake. They also are establishing a new compliance program to monitor compliance with the law. Okay, so here's a quote. Bank of America's illegal actions harmed hundreds of thousands of consumers and undermined the public's trust in the banking system, said CFPB Director Rohit Chopra. This settlement holds Bank of America accountable for its wrongdoing and ensures that consumers are protected from this type of abuse in the future. OCC Acting Comptroller Michael Hsu said, "This settlement demonstrates the OCC's commitment to protecting consumers from unfair, deceptive, and abusive financial practices. Bank of America's employees violated the law by opening unauthorized credit card accounts without the consent of consumers. This conduct harmed consumers and undermined the integrity of the banking system." Well, no, not really. Bank of America has been undermining the integrity of the banking system for decades. In fact, they are the most penalized corporation in the United States, according to the Violation Tracker Project, which has been tracking violations and penalties in the United States from corporations doing business here. So Bank of America, they have been penalized $87 billion since the year 2000. And they are clearly way in first place in this regard. At second place, which happens to be another bank, Chase, was fined $36 billion. So that puts it in perspective, just the nature of Bank of America, this epitome of uncaring, unrelenting corporate culture that is concerned with maximizing profits from their shareholders. Now, it's no surprise that Bank of America continues to abuse customers, undermine the integrity of the banking system. In 2022, Bank of America made $27.5 billion in profits. In 2022, making it the 8th most profitable business on the Fortune 500's 2022 list. Now, they were penalized around $500 million in 2022, which kind of makes it a rounding error, right? I mean, $27.5 billion in profits, all right, it's still really impressive, $27 billion. So in a sense, this is just a cost of doing business for these institutions. Now, many of us have thought about publicly traded for-profit corporations and the way they are designed with this corporate bottom line and trying to maximize profits for their shareholders. Now, the CFPB and the OCC, they are trying to take steps to prevent abuse from happening. But here's the thing. There's this constant pressure to increase profits every 3 months. And that's when quarterly reports are released on all publicly traded corporations, Bank of America included. And on these quarterly reports, it says what the corporation, their quarterly earnings were in the prior 3 months, and it also makes projections on what their earnings will be for the next quarter. And if the report looks great, celebrations, the banking executives gets huge bonuses, and everyone's happy. Shareholders are happy. Consumers probably aren't so happy because they're cutting corners in order to get those profits. But the banking executives are happy and the shareholders are happy. Now, if the quarterly reports are sour with losses the prior quarter and projection of future losses, well, the shareholders have the legal right to fire Bank of America's executive team. And this creates a pressure. And the Bank of America executive team, well, they take that pressure and they put it on employees. And when you have this pressure to increase profits or get fired, well, it's inevitable that unethical behavior will occur. Unethical behavior like opening up fake credit card accounts to meet sales quotas, double dipping overdraft fees, and withholding cash rewards and credit card points from your customers. So none of this is surprising, and there's this because of this overwhelming pressure to increase quarterly profits. And there's nothing that the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and there's nothing that the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency can do to regulate this pressure. It will always exist. And when the fines happen, well, it just makes it more challenging to increase your profits. So they're going to have to look outside the box to do it, to keep increasing, which will inevitably lead to more unethical behavior. And it's going to get more creative as time goes by. We can't regulate our way out of this mess. Which brings us to the simple steps that we can all do to make a difference. Now, the steps aren't quick, but they're easy. So here's the first step we can all do. Take your money out of Bank of America, out of Chase, out of all the big four financial institutions, which also include Wells Fargo and Citigroup. By the way, those four institutions control half of all the banking assets in the United States. And collectively, they have fines that are reaching close to $180 billion in the last 20 years. To put that in perspective, the number two place industry, the pharmaceutical industry, and the third place industry, oil and gas, as far as penalties go, combined, these four corporations were penalized more than those two entire industries. Okay, so this is a horrible situation that we're in, and here are the simple steps we can all do to be the change. First off, take your money out of these institutions and put them into your local credit union. Now, credit unions are designed differently. There's no pressure to increase quarterly profits because credit unions are nonprofit. And when they do make revenue above their expenses, well, they pump it right back into the credit union, offering better interest rates on savings accounts for their customers, offering lower interest rates on loans and mortgages for their customers, offering financial services like financial education. You can get notaries, and oftentimes it's free. Lines of credit, which the big guys don't do, Chase and Bank of America don't do, and they can provide these services because there's no pressure, and they're there to serve you, the member. Their board of directors are way different. First of all, they're elected. Members elect the board of members, the board to to serve on the board, and these board members are very diverse. if opposed to the Bank of America board, which they are not elected, and most of them are MBAs from some Ivy League school. So there's a homogenous thought process going on with these commercial banks, and there's a diversified community thought process going on with credit unions. Now, credit unions, they're not perfect. Nothing is. Recently, the credit union that I belong to was an employee there hacked and stole sensitive information from the members, including myself. My social security was and name was taken. But here's what the credit union did: they gave me a free membership to one of these identity theft programs. And it was immediate. There was no hiding it. It happened. They said the date when it happened, and within the month, I had the free identity protection, and nothing has happened. And so that's the good news. But credit unions, one of the okay. Second thing that we can all do, simple steps, is to engage in something called crowd lending. This is when a large group of regular people pool small amounts of money to fund a loan. Now, there are crowd lending platforms with as little as $10 you can engage in lending to people, small businesses, ventures, projects. And instead of a bank collecting the interest payments, the crowd lending platform collects it for you. And it's a way to erode the wealth and power of these large financial institutions and redirect that wealth and power to regular people. It's a fantastic way to make banks irrelevant by the people lending to other people. With technology, it really there isn't this need to have these institutions, because in the end they're only abusing us over and over and over again. Amelia, she's a fake character, but there are real Amelias out there, and they really had to spend a lot of time on the phone, and that time lost will never get back trying to fix the fake account problem. It's horrible, and we can all take simple steps to be the change. My name is Paul Lovejoy. I am a crowd investor, and I see you are one too. If you'd like to know the 3 secret steps to fix our broken financial system democratically, without confrontation or political action, go to stakeholderenterprise.com.